Hello, everyone. This is Tikva from Homeopathy for Humanity, and that is Sanjay from Homeopathy for Humanity. And we are continuing our review of Belladonna from Materia, Medica, Pura. This is part 4, and we are starting with proving number 400. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we're only up to the jaw. Proving number 400 is in the lower jaw, and then it says in the glands, like perhaps it's in the glands, a jerking, drawing pain that darted in swiftly and quickly went off. Whenever it says went off in this language, it means stop. So it was a sudden pain. And it might have been a jerking, drawing pain. Jerking is like, when you stop the car fast and it jerks. That's jerk. And drawing means a pulling pain. And then 401, sorry, it's been a long day, guys. Swollen cervical glands, which are painful at night. On swallowing, they do not hurt. That's an interesting characteristic, that it does not hurt while swallowing. Stitches in a gland on the side of the neck. So stitching pain is another indicative pain that feels like, when you're sewing something, it's like small pricks. On the left side of the neck, in the cervical muscles, a cramp-like pensive sensation, even when not moving. So it feels cramped and tense. It feels tight. Then her head is drawn backwards. It buries itself at night deep in the pillow. So she's like pressing her head backwards into the pillow at night.
Mm-hmm.
I know in Hellboris it talks about rolls their head back and forth in the pillow. Similar thing here in Belladonna. 405, stiffness of the neck so that he cannot lay the head sideways. Okay, so he can't lay on his side or lay his head sideways. I don't know which one that means. I guess maybe tilting the head to the side. What do you think, Sanjay?
Stiffness of neck so that he cannot lay the head sideways. Means just he cannot bend his head.
Okay.
Neck is stiff, he cannot bend sideways. He can probably bend forward and backward, but cannot do sideways.
Yep, there's definitely stiffness in the neck.
Or it can just mean he cannot lay on side.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
You cannot lay the head, means you cannot lay only head. So that's why I think it is just a bending. He cannot lay the head.
And then we have stiffness of the nape. There's a lot of stiff neck in Belladonna, as we know. And drawing pain in the cervical muscles. And in the right cervical muscles, a drawing, aching pain. Drawing, remember, means pulling. Feels tight. Fine stitches in the pit of the throat.
Mm-hmm.
That would be down here. Aching sensation.
aching sensation on left side of larynx, which is increased by external pressure. Hello?
Yeah.
Feeling the beating of cervical arteries. Aching pain in the neck close up to the occiput, which is not altered by movement.
Which is
Aching
interesting,
pain.
not worse or better from movement. Lots of times when people have a bad headache with throbbing carotids and things like that, oftentimes they don't like to move. So that is characteristic. All these different things are characteristic in Belladonna.
Violent teaching in the neck often renewed, means often it comes back in the region of second and third cervical vertebrae. Huh. This is very important symptoms, last three symptoms. Sorry, two symptoms you can see. Aching pain in the nape of neck, close up to the occiput. It is close up to the occiput. Then I think I am okay. Then violent teaching means teaches in the nape often renew in the region of second and third occiput. Sorry, second and third cervical vertebrae on holding up head. Means when he tried to hold the head up, that time there is a teachers, violent teachers, just you can say an inch below occiput.
Now we come to the grinding of the teeth. I can't tell you how many times this has been part of a prescription of Belladonna that I've given. It is so common in Belladonna that the patient grinds their teeth. I see it so frequently. That means they're rubbing them together. You're talking to somebody who's got this terrible fever and they feel really sick and they're really out of it and they're really confused and they're going like this. Ever see this, Sanjay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lot
I've
of
made
people have those symptoms of grinding teeth in Belladonna. And
lots of
nervous
times in
children.
fever. I use that. I see that symptom often. That's very characteristic. Grinding the teeth together during the fever. And it says here, violent grinding of the teeth. Then it says grinding of the teeth with much foam before the mouth with the smell of rotten eggs. Now you remember from learning elsewhere from Hahnemann, I think in this book, The Chronic Diseases, Hahnemann says that Belladonna helps prevent hydrophobia or rabies.
He, I think, prescribed in Mad Dog.
Yeah, that.
Somewhere in Organon also he explains about the Mad Dog and in chronic disease.
He says what does he say? Not even 1 in 12 or 1 in 11 that have been bitten by a rabid dog come down with the disease. And he says that Belladonna is nearly specific to prevent rabies in people.
Belladonna prevents so many diseases of viral origin. Means especially those are eruptive fevers.
And then we come to grinding of the teeth and convulsion of the right arm. What is a convulsion?
Jerking.
And involuntary movement.
Mhm.
Then we have grinding of the teeth with copious flow of saliva from the mouth. Now that is a journal entry and not a proving symptom. And then we have extremely painful swelling of the gums on the right side with fever and a chilly feeling. Remember, gum boil is in Belladonna as well. Extremely painful swelling, okay. Vesicles on the gums beneath one of the front teeth, which pains as if burnt. So where there's a pustular eruption with some kind of problem inside the gums of the front teeth with pain as if burnt.
The vesicle on gum beneath one of the front teeth with pain as if burned. I have that.
Is that well?
I don't know what symptom is. It is this front teeth. It's up there. It's come sometimes in a week or 2 weeks with toothache, and there is a burning pain.
Well, I think that it seems like you might need some belladonna. Look at it.
I just
Symptom 419, vesicle of the gums beneath one of the front teeth with pain as if burnt.
I can show, but I don't know if it is visible. But I will show you when it appears again.
Well, you might want to take some belladonna.
Then 420, gums on being touched, painful as if ulcerated. Heat in the gums, itching and throbbing in them. Very tiresome itching. Tiresome itching means?
That it just goes on and on and on. The itching just doesn't stop.
With pain in the throat. Then the gums at hollow teeth bleeds. On sucking with the tongue at the hollow teeth, flows out of them without pain. This is also symptom. Lot of symptoms are there.
Well, I think you should just go reach into your belladonna there and put some in a water dilution. Let's go for a 10 tablespoon dilution of a 200C, 2 pellets in a cup. And then you'll be able to report to us. Good, that means you have 2 symptoms of belladonna. I know that if I go through more belladonna, I will get more symptoms that you have. I know
look
that.
At this. Look at drawing pain in the upper front molar in the right side, remaining the same under all conditions. What is the symptom?
There's a pulling pain in the right side molars that is same no matter what you're doing.
Okay.
It's the same if you're eating, it's the same if you're laying down, it's the same if you're in cold air, it's the same if you're in hot air, it's the same if you're drinking cold water, the same if you're drinking tea. That means under all conditions.
tearing pain in the lower hollow tooth and in the sound molar next to it. In contact, the contact of ear or a food increase the pain horribly. Okay, this is common. To take more drawing than shooting. This is also very a typical symptom. Drawing means just pulling pain, and shooting is just like this. Toothache with drawing in the ear. Often people have that symptom.
Yep. And they might even be grinding their teeth while they have that symptom.
Yeah. He wakes up after midnight with violent tearing. Question mark in the teeth. Why
But
there
we
is
see
question mark?
we see the time modality of after midnight. That means that isn't only arsenicum after midnight. Belladonna also.
Yeah. Arsenicum is before till midnight or midnight, on midnight. Around, you can consider half an hour before and after midnight.
The question we have to ask is that actual midnight or a modern clock midnight? Because, for example, you know how we have a lunar calendar and then we have the Gregorian calendar that was made by the Christian Europeans?
No,
And the same thing
midnight,
is true of time. No, I'm
midnight
wondering, I'm
means
asking a question. No, I'm asking a question for discussion for people to think about. You know how there's like the lunar calendar, you have the waxing and the waning of the moon, which is symptomatic in some people in some remedies. And I wonder if sometimes the time modalities, I wonder if they correspond to the actual clock all the time, or if sometimes they are according to what we would call halakhic noon, hatzot,
yeah.
things like that, because the time of the day changes depending on the season. So what might be midnight according to the rotation would be maybe 11 p.m. or maybe 1 p.m. according to the Earth rotation versus the
Exactly.
standardized clock. So I'm just bringing that up as a question for people to think about.
That is exactly. It's not a time exact clock, but it is that rotation and all that dynamic action between the planets, sun and
Yeah,
moon.
right. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, the dynamic action, the which is on to the whole planet and its content. So it's have effect on us also.
Mhm.
By contact of 4:30, by the contact of open air, uniform simple toothache like pain of excoriation. Pain of excoriation.
Breathing
What
out.
is pain?
Oh,
Excoriation is
expiration. Oh, I'm
something.
sorry. When there's a sore, let's say that you've taken something and you rubbed it against your skin until it's raw. A
It
rawness of
becomes,
the skin.
and then it ooze serum. That's oozing is excoriating. Excoriating means exactly it's burns. it erodes. Right. Not while eating, but only several minutes after eating, the toothache comes on. Increases gradually by higher degree and decline equally gradually. It does not comes on after drinking.
That is unusual.
When you have a toothache, it usually when whatever it is, hot or cold, it will give you kick.
Either that or it will ameliorate it. Sometimes it ameliorates too. I remember having somebody that had a toothache, maybe 6 months ago, and that every time he put a little bit of water in his mouth until it got warm, he felt okay. So he was drinking constantly and holding water in the mouth. I'm like, wow. So I'm like, we have to fix this because you can't drink perpetually. You'll get oversaturated with water. And I think, what did we use? I think it was arsenicum, because he was going from place to place to place, all around the house, not finding any comfort, just moving location constantly. I think it was an arsenicum. Anyway, I digress.
Toothache in the evening after laying down and during intellectual work. Dull pain in the nerve of the root of the teeth, almost like a pain of excoriation. And when worse, like continual cutting. Then toothache sharp drawing from ear down into hollow teeth, from ear to down into hollow teeth of upper jaw, where the pain becomes boring. How we can judge means pain is from ear to tooth, or is it from tooth to ear? Yeah,
Depends
there
on
is
which
a
one starts
possibility.
first.
There is a possibility that whenever a pathology in the ear or a symptom in the ear, it will give you tooth pain. But
Yeah.
here he is telling in the hollow teeth. Hollow teeth means tooth is also uh, defective.
Mm-hmm.
So how we can read whether the symptom is from ear to tooth or tooth to ear?
By careful questioning.
Hollow tooth of the upper jaw, where pain becomes boring. Means there is a drawing in the ear and boring in the tooth. Wireless, slighter wireless eating more severe after eating, never quite living off by day, but worse at night and completely hindering sleep. This is a nice symptom,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't know
Hindering
how.
sleep. That cannot sleep at all during this tooth pain. But then it says after drinking coffee, it changed to a
To
dull
dull.
jerking and boring.
In the same symptom, in the single symptom, you see drawing in the ear. Then when it comes to teeth, it is boring. And when drinks coffee, it becomes dull, jerking, and boring.
Mhm.
Means then it will start pulsating. Okay. Dull, boring, dull drawing at right row of teeth all night.
The pain prevented sleep. The painful part was somewhat swollen. With burning pain and hot to the touch, sometimes painful jerks and teeth in the teeth.
Mhm.
A fine shooting pain in the upper hollow molar all day, allowing him but little sleep at night, followed by swelling of the cheek.
Mhm.
A transient digging toothache, the incisors feel too long, teeth painful on biting, as if the roots were festering and would break off. Single very painful twitches or throbs in the nerve roots of one or several teeth. A lot of toothache in Belladonna. There's actually a lot of everything in Belladonna. That's why it's taking us a very long time to finish it. In the mouth, a feeling of increased space, just as if the tongue was farther down than usual. That's really interesting. Feeling as if the tongue were asleep, dead and numb in the morning. Oh, wow. I've had that during a fever.
Okay, this symptom. How it means sensation?
Mhm.
Feeling as if tongue is asleep. You don't feel a tongue.
Yep, feeling as if the tongue were asleep, dead and numb in the morning. That means like when waking up, that the tongue is just like not working. It's just like not working. I know that one. I've had it. Feeling of coldness and dryness in the fore half of the tongue. That means the front part. The whole tongue is painful, especially when touched. Cracked, white, furred tongue with great secretion of saliva. So we have white and fuzzy tongue. And 445 on the middle of the white furred tongue, severe smarting pain as if from a vesicle. So it feels like there's like an eruption, like a sore on the top of the tongue. Then we have on the tip of the tongue, a feeling as if a vesicle were there, which had burned pain on being touched for 2 days. Here, read for a second. I have to disappear for just a second. Hang on. You continue reading. I'll be right back.
Okay. A lingual papillae are bright red, inflamed, much swollen after day 3. Trembling of tongue, stammering of tongue, 450 stammering weakness of organ of speech with perfect consciousness and dilated pupil. He stammers like drunken person. Transient speechlessness. I think this is a journal entry. Yeah, it is. Paralytic weakness of organ of speech.
Yep, and transient speechlessness. Yep, speechlessness. They emit no sound. Aphonia means that there's no voice. That they have lost their voice. There is no noise coming from the voice.
Yeah, paralytic weakness of organ of speech. He is not talking about tongue, but he is talking about the voice, larynx, from where the voice comes. So we can see that symptom, speechlessness. They emit no sound.
Dumbness
Dumbness,
means, yep,
cannot
dumbness,
speak.
cannot speak. Difficult speech, difficulty of breathing with great prostration after the anxiety. So there's been anxiety. Something happened where there was anxiety, or perhaps there's an anxiety situation. And then there's been, he's like totally flat out exhausted, can't really breathe properly, and can't really talk properly after some occurrence of anxiety. Speaking is very difficult for him. His voice is piping. Piping. Now that's an interesting word. Piping. What does a pipe sound like?
It high pitch.
Yeah, high pitched. You know, you got those little pipes that people play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very low voice. Then we have a then we have a polarity here with a very low voice, with headache, as if the brain would be pressed out just over the orbit in the forehead, which prevents the eyes being opened and compels him to lie down with extreme contraction of the pupils. Here we have pupils are small instead of dilated like we often see in belladonna. So there's both. Okay, so the voice is very deep and low, and there's this very bad headache that feels like the brain is pressing out from here, just above the eyes, which prevents the eyes from opening all the way. So it looks kind of like a gelsemium kind of thing. Being open and compels him to lay down. Yes, you would think that somebody who feels this bad might lay down. And there's contraction of the pupils. There's very, very long symptoms in here. Very interesting. It's a very interesting remedy. Boninghausen wanted this to be one of the antisporics, but Hahnemann did not agree. Isn't that a fun fact?
Mm-hmm.
Tongue covered with much viscid, yellowish, white mucus. Viscous means that it's slimy.
Sticky.
Then we have viscid. Maybe we need to look that up. Dr. Sahu, does viscid mean sticky or slimy?
Slimy. Sticky means just like a chip.
Viscous means it is
just like aloe
somewhat
vera
thick.
gel, aloe vera gel like.
A thick something which is not watery.
When we cut the aloe vera, then there is a gel that like is the biscuit.
Mhm. Yeah. So we have viscous mucus in the mouth. We have viscous saliva hangs in long strings out of the mouth. That's horrible, huh? Great flow of saliva. Highlightism. Okay, so there's a lot of saliva. Soreness inside the cheek. And opening of the salivary ducts as if eroded. Ooh. So there's pain and lots of saliva. And he spits out viscous mucus often on symptom number 469. 460. No, that's a 5. Yep, sorry. It's just that it's hard for me to read from this actual, with the glasses, right? He has much mucus in his mouth, especially in the morning after rising, sometimes of a putrid taste. Now, you remember what the word putrid means? Putrid means that it's like rotting. So if something's putrid, it's like it's gone bad, that it's rotting. You know how, like, if you have like a bag of potatoes or a basket of potatoes, and sometimes one of those potatoes that starts rotting, you know that smell?
Mm-hmm.
When you have to
Rotten.
clean out your potato basket, that's a putrid smell. Really, potatoes that have gone bad in the potato basket. Dr. Sahu, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Potatoes that have gone wrong and are rotting in the potato basket, that's a putrid smell that most of us can say we've enjoyed in our lifetime. Okay. He has much mucus in the morning, putrid taste. The saliva in the throat was insipid. I can't see. Insipid. That's seriously, that's a word I don't know. That's literally a word I don't know.
Then you can Google it.
Yeah, we need to
I
have
think it is like a juicy aloe vera juice, like insipid.
Inspissated.
Inspissated. Yeah, like is aloe vera.
I think that when we have a word that I don't know, that we should have a little bell that we ring. I can't look it up either because I'm on my phone, and if I use my phone to look it up, then I can't do my video right. Then we just end up videoing my nose and stuff like that.
We can Google it.
Yes, we can.
Just let me check.
Thicken.
It's
Thicken. Thicken consistency.
Congested or thickened.
Oh, hi, Siva Kumaran.
Hi, ma'am.
Nice to see you here. I can't see that at all on my phone. Somebody read it?
Thicken in consistency.
Okay.
Broadly made or having become thick, heavy, or intense.
So it's kind of like this, kid.
First known use of word 1655.
Wow.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so it's that viscid, white, and adherent to the tongue like glue, so that she must always keep some liquid in the mouth. Okay, so there's this problem of sticky, thick saliva that's white, that sticks to the tongue like glue, and she must always drink some water to fix it. Slimy mouth with a feeling as if he had a bad smell from the mouth, as when the stomach is deranged. Thank you, Sima Kurang. Slime, okay, 470. Slimy mouth in the morning on awakening with aching headache, both lasting a short time. So we have a problem with waking up. There's slimy mouth and aching pain in the head, but only for a short time. In the morning, on awakening, he smelled very badly from the mouth. So there's bad breath here. Great feeling of dryness of the mouth with very irritable humor, yet the mouth and tongue look moist. Okay, so it looks dry. He feels irritable. His mood is irritable, but the mouth and tongue look moist, even though it feels dry. Great feeling of dryness in the mouth. There was very little viscid mucus on the tongue, and the lips were hot, and the skin peeled off. This is also something that, along with that grinding teeth, that I've seen many, 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 many times when giving Belladonna, is the peeling lip. Viscid mucus of the mouth and dry feeling, dryness in the mouth, great feeling of dryness in the moist mouth with stickiness and great thirst. Great dryness in the throat. Dryness in the mouth with thirst. Aridity of the mouth. That would mean that it's arid. Arid places or dry places. So it just means dryness, again, in the mouth, as if the inner skin had been removed by something acrid. Okay, the word acrid. Acrid means like caustic. Acrid means something that would be like an acid, something acidic. So it feels like the skin and the inside of the mouth had been eaten away by something acidic. 480, dryness of the mouth that can scarcely be got rid of. Again, a journal entry. Dryness in the throat. Feeling of excessive dryness in the mouth, and yet the tongue was always moist. So we're seeing moistness of the tongue and mouth when the patient feels dry. That's important. The patient saying, my mouth feels so dry. But if you say, open your mouth, it's going to look okay. Got that? Excessive dryness of the mouth that causes constriction in the throat. His fauces and pharynx were constricted on account of the extreme dryness of the mouth. There was not a trace of mucus there, and only moderate thirst. Still, he could swallow milk. The wording of that sentence is a little strange. with the still he could swallow milk. Because the rest makes sense. It feels constricted with the dryness, and it wasn't really moist with any mucus or anything, with only moderate thirst, not severe thirst. Yet he could swallow milk. Okay, not quite sure what that means. Dryness in the mouth, the fauces, and the nose. He cannot swallow on account of dryness of the mouth, fauces, and nose. That's trouble swallowing because of dryness.
Look at this. Okay.
Yep, throwing up of blood, seemingly proceeding from the fauces. Flow of blood from the mouth and nose. Scraping,
Mhm.
pinching on the palate. No, scraping and scratching on the palate, occurring by itself. On the palate, all is raw and sore, especially painful when touched with the tongue and on chewing, as though denuded of skin. Pains in the throat, fine tearing on the inner surface of the angle of the left side of the inferior maxilla, on the left tonsil and behind it, unaltered by touching, violent tearing on swallow. Interesting that it says unaltered by touching. I guess they're talking about the outside, because if you touch somebody back there with something, they're going to gag, right?
Hmm.
So there's violent tearing on swallowing with sore throat back here, left tonsil and behind it, that doesn't feel worse by touching. It must be touching externally, because if you touch that internally, the person's going to gag. So you have a lot of pain while swallowing. Dryness in the fauces and burning of the tongue. Burning sensation in the fauces. And 495 through the mouth is though the mouth is sufficiently moist, there is violent burning in the throat, which is not alleviated by drinking, but is transiently ameliorated by a little sugar. See, this prover did a really good job with the modality here. He tried drinking and he tried sprinkling a little bit of sugar in the mouth. So it gets better for a short time. That's what it means transiently. For a short time, ameliorated by a little sugar. Then we have long continued burning pain of the fauces. Food and drink burn in the mouth like alcohol and hot feeling. Inflammation of throat and fauces. Constant urging and need to swallow. He felt as if he must choke if he did not swallow. Constant swallowing. Sore throat. Stitches in the pharynx and pain as from internal swelling, only felt when swallowing and on turning the neck, as also when touching the side of it, but not when at rest or talking. 500. The throat is swollen internally. The throat is sore on swallowing and spitting out. A sensation is swelling from more on the left side. Pain in the throat and bellyache. Sore throat becoming worse every hour, with heat, scratching, constricting, and sore feeling. Difficult and painful swallowing. A violent shooting pain in the throat on swallowing and breathing. Stitches in the throat on the left side, equally bad whether swallowing or not. Inflammation of the tonsils, which after 4 days pass into suppuration, during which he cannot swallow a drop. Okay, so there's inflammation of the tonsils, and after 4 days, there's pus on the tonsils. And then once the pus comes out on the tonsils, he can't swallow anything. And then we've got the stuff, the data on the journal entries.
Look at this reference. What is the star? You will see a star on this page. Okay.
They're throwing up of blood seemingly proceeding from the fossa. It's from Cullen. Remember Cullen?
Uh-huh.
Cullen is where Hahnemann got his idea to start proving cinchona.
Read this reference. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and read for a minute.
Difficult deglutition, impeded swallowing, painless inability to swallow, impeded swallowing, great constriction in the gullet, transient but frequent recurring contraction of esophagus, more on swallowing than at other times, each time followed by scratching pain in the region of epiglottis, as if there was something raw and sore there. Sore throat when when swallowing, scraping in the palate, and as if rubbed raw there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of rawness and scraping in the throat, the mouth, the tongue.
Throat affection, narrowing means contraction of gullet, whereby swallowing is impeded. Painful narrowing and contraction of gullet. On making preparatory movement to swallow, it feels tense and stretch, although nothing is swallowed. When actually swallowing, it is not more painful, even when quite, uh, even when quite the feeling of narrowness in the throat is painful. What that means?
that even when he's doing nothing, there's a painful, narrow feeling inside the throat. Feels
Even
tense,
when
stretched.
quiet, the feeling of narrowness in the throat is painful.
Yeah, so it feels tight and narrow even when he's doing nothing. He's not talking, he's not swallowing, he's not eating, he's not drinking. He's just being quiet, and it still feels like that.
On swallowing, the feeling of throat as if all were too narrow there, as if contracted, as though nothing could get right down. Narrow feeling is there. She could not swallow solid food. He chews the food without being able to swallow because the throat appears to him to be contracted.
Interestingly, we might want to bring out another point. Lots of times when people talk about constricted throat or constriction, they're thinking about things like lactative. But you see, there's a lot of it in Belladonna. Oh, this is an interesting one. 520. In her unconscious state, she often pushes her finger deep down her throat, scratches her gums, and presses her neck with both hands. He swallows water with great difficulty and can only get down an extremely small quantity. Horror of all fluids, so that she makes frightful faces at them. Liquid poured out makes her furious. Inability to swallow, paralytic weakness of the internal parts of the mouth. Something rose from the abdomen and pressed in the throat with retching, but without nausea and without vomiting. Lost taste, insipid taste in the mouth, spoiled taste in the mouth, disgusting taste in the mouth with clean tongue, corrupted taste of the saliva, putrid taste in the mouth when she had eaten, putrid taste in the mouth as from putrid meat 2 hours after eating. Putrid taste comes up from the fauces, and when eating and drinking, although food and drink have their proper taste. A sickly sweet taste in the mouth, sticky taste in the mouth, salty sourish taste in the mouth, salt taste of food, as if all were salted. At the commencement of a meal, proper taste of the food, but all at once everything tasted partly too salty, partly like nothing, and insipid, and feeling in the throat, pit of the throat, as if the ingesta would be thrown up again. Bread smells and tastes sour to him. Bread tastes sour to him. The bread tastes sour to her. Disgust at milk, which at other times she generally drank and with relish. It had a disgusting, very repulsive smell and sourish, bitterish taste to her, which, however, goes off on continuing to drink. In the evening, the bread and butter, at least the last portion of it, tastes very sour, whereupon generally some heartburn ensued, which lasted 2 hours for 8 successive evenings after 4 days. 5:45. Bitter taste of bread and apples in the evening. Coffee is repugnant to her. Disgust at camphor. Hunger but no inclination for any kind of food. Repugnance to food. Complete repugnance to all food and drink with quick, weak pulse. Total loss of appetite. Want of appetite with headache. Diminished appetite. Animal food is especially repugnant. Hey, what's animal food?
Animal food,
Mm-hmm.
like cattle feeds.
No, that's why I asked
Mhm.
it. Animal food means like chicken, beef, lamb,
Okay.
goats, because that's a little bit ambiguous. So this
Fermented food.
hmm?
Fermented food.
I didn't hear that.
Mhm. Continue.
Diminished appetite, animal food is especially repugnant. Dislike to beer, dislike to acid. Acids would be things like vinegar, lemon, acidic foods. Long continued repugnance to food. Repugnance means like an extreme dislike. Like it looks horrible, I can't possibly eat kind of thing. It's like gross, gross, yuck. Don't want to even see it. No appetite. He loathes everything. He hates everything. He doesn't want to eat at all. He gets a longing for one thing or another, but when he partakes of it, he does not relish it. So he wants to eat this, that, or the other thing, but when he gets it and starts eating it, he doesn't like it. After smoking tobacco, he has no appetite. 560, anorexia with empty feeling and hunger. On commencing to eat, he relishes the food and eats as usual. That's the exact opposite symptom. He doesn't feel like eating, but he is hungry, and then he likes his food when he eats it. Increased appetite is a curative symptom. Cured symptom here, increased appetite. Appetite for a water soup and bread and butter, but for nothing else. I guess water soup would be like boiled vegetables in a liquid. After eating but little, a peculiar contracting feeling in the stomach. After eating, cough and great thirst. Immediately after a meal, as if intoxicated. Here we have that intoxication again. After eating, violent pinching below the navel, close beneath the abdominal intrigument. After taking beer, internal heat. No desire for drink. Adypsia, not wanting
What
to
is
drink.
Edipia? What is Edipia? Edipsia.
It's not drinking. It means not wanting to drink. Like how anorexia is not eating. Desire for drinks without thirst, He hardly brought the cup to his mouth when he set it down again. Astonishing thirst in the evening with watery taste, but all drinks disgust her. Strong thirst for cold drinks without heat. At noon, violent thirst, returning several days at a time. Irritation with the taste of ingestion. So we're burping and it tasted like what we ate. Bitter irritation after eating, frequent irritation from the stomach, irritation with loss of appetite, irritation and vertigo, ineffectual desire to burp, half suppressed, incomplete burping, putrid burping, burning, sour burping, whereby also corrosive, sour fluid came into the mouth with a kind of retching. We got acid reflux, people.
Yeah.
Heartburn when smoking tobacco. There long remains a scratching, burning, smarting sensation at the entrance to the gullet, chiefly at the upper border of the larynx. Listen, we've got acid reflux, heartburn, tobacco, and a scratching, burning, smarting sensation in the throat at the upper border of the larynx. People report that. Flow of water in the mouth in the evening for half an hour. Nausea and inclination to vomit in the throat, not in the pit of the stomach. So the sensation of needing the vomit and the nausea is in the throat and not in the stomach. Sometimes with bitter burping in the evening. After breakfast, squeamishness. That means feeling unwell, kind of like vomiting, kind of not. In the forenoon, frequent attack of nausea. Inclination to vomit while walking in the open air. Nausea in the stomach. Remember, we just saw nausea in the throat? Well, now here's nausea in the stomach. 590, disgust with inclination to vomit, especially when he is about to eat. Frequent disgust and retching, nausea, inclination to vomit, and great thirst that she must drink enormous quantities of water. That's with nausea and feeling like you're going to vomit. She has to still drink lots and lots of water. Vomiting in the evening, vomiting, vertigo, and flying heat. Vomiting and profuse sweat, excessive vomiting. Vomiting of mucus about noon, bilious vomiting, bilious slimy vomiting. Vomiting of undigested food partaken of 12 hours previously. Vomiting after 6 hours and immediately afterwards sleep for several hours.
Okay. We will stop here. It's 11 o'clock at this time.
Yep, thank you for joining us, or thank you for watching this video. I hope it has been useful and informative as usual.
And we will continue from 601 next week.
Not
Probably
next week. Remember, we have Yom Kippur this Tuesday night, Wednesday, and then next Sunday at sunset, start Sukkot. So I'm not here. I mean, I'm here, but I won't be working or doing videos next Sunday at sunset because we will be
Okay.
sitting outside in our sukkah having a festival.
Yeah. Is that tent show?
Yes, the tent one.
Tent one.
Yes, it's the tent festival. That's
Yeah.
for a whole week, but it's just the first day, the Shabbat day, and the last day are days where I won't be working. Other days that are the intermediary days of the festival, I'm around.
Okay. Okay, but after that, I think we should do more sessions because it's a big remedy. We are not even at the 50% after 3-4 sessions now.
Yeah. Well,
So
if you have time, let me know.
yeah, we can make 1 hour or 2 hours, 1 hour probably. Means twice a week until this remedy finishes. Okay,
Yep, sounds like a good plan.
because we need to finish this remedy quickly.
We need to finish this remedy at all. And then what's next, Bryonia?
Yeah, means big remedies we need to give more time.
Yeah, Bryonia is fairly big. Oh no, there's bismuth is next, a small one. Bismuth is small, and then comes Bryonia, another big one. Okay, great guys. Thank you. Good work.
Thank you.